Hello, this is the One Episode Rule, a podcast about first impressions. I am Magpie, chugging away at the one anime I watch outside of the program.
Is it Bochi?
Almost done with Bochi.
Nice.
That show is good. Gonna have to decide what's next.
Retro Mercury, I've already decided for you.
So I'm thinking it's gonna be Golden Kamuy.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Odd Taxi.
This is infuriating, and I don't think I can no longer be friends with you. I do think I can no longer be friends with you.
If you hadn't mentioned it, it probably would have been G-Witch.
Well, Mr. Spite over here.
So anyway, how are you guys?
Pretty good.
Just fine until we started recording.
I'm Blackle. I'm chilling like a villain. I just had 2 weeks off, so I'm kind of like going through like vacation withdrawal, so to speak. I'm like being reminded of the grueling horror of having to work again. So I'm going through that, but otherwise things are okay.
Nice. Well, I'm sorry about your imminent return to work. Hi, I'm Joey. I'm back. I wasn't here last week because my internet.
JoJo's back.
They brought internet back to Florida.
Yay!
Hooray!
By popular demand.
Needless to say, I haven't been getting really any watching done. I've been doing a lot of drawing, which
A lot of drawing.
Which I've been having fun with.
Some of which is born fruits. And the podcast will extend your reach should you desire it. But,
yeah. Anyhow, that's what I've been up to.
Hi there, I'm Louie. I've also been drawing a lot.
That is true.
I haven't watched anything either. Oops. Sorry, guys. Maybe next week.
I did that too. Week. I also did art.
You did. That's really true.
You had your chance
having
to talk.
Productivity.
Do you guys want some news?
Yeah, let's have some news.
Yeah.
All right. So, in interesting like non-announcement news, we have an opinion poll because Japanese website Otona Answer has polled over 2,000 young Japanese anime fans on their favorite anime of 2023, which we don't typically get insight into what the Japanese Gen Z kids like. Do you guys want to hear the top 10?
Yes.
Sure.
Desperately.
Should we take our guesses? Should we have some guesses?
Yeah. Give me a guess for number one. If you want.
One Piece. Oh wait, is it seasonal only?
Yeah, what's the beginning?
It's mostly seasonal. It's gonna be recent stuff.
Oshinoko, I would imagine is up there. I think Witch from Mercury is gonna be up there.
All right, so Oshinoko is number one.
Hell yeah.
They love Oshinoko. The list going down from that is Tokyo Revengers Season 2,
That makes sense.
Demon Slayer Swordsmith Village,
That makes sense.
My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999, Mashal Magic and Muscles, Pokemon, The Dangers in My Heart,
Whoa.
Uma Musume Pretty Derby Road to the Top.
Seriously?
That one always gets
Are you joking?
Surprisingly high. No.
People
love Pretty Derby.
People love the fucking horse.
The psyop is working.
Yeah, Big Horse is winning, but Blue Orchestra and Konosuba: An Explosion on This Wonderful World, which is the side story about Mega Man.
Oh wow, fascinating.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Interesting insight into their tastes over there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I have seen the creditless opening for Baki Hanma Season 2, and I have dire news to report to all of you, which is they're doing Pickle. He is here.
Pickle!
This opening is about him fighting dinosaurs and then getting frozen in an iceberg like the fucking Avatar.
He's here. Our horrid son is here.
I did not think they would ever do Pickle.
They had to get to him eventually.
I'm gonna have to watch this and report on it. In addition to leisure anime that I watch for myself, for the podcast, I will have to consume Baki Hanma.
Yeah.
The most
True.
insane anime to ever be put to film.
True.
Mhm.
And finally, something that may not hit anybody else as hard as it hit me, but it struck me like an arrow, which is that they have announced the casting for the Chainsaw Man stage play adaptation, and Makima is being played by the voice actor of fucking Haruhi Suzumiya, and it's
Oh my
sending me.
Yeah, that doesn't quite get me as I
It
know
is-
I understand the reference, but
It
like
is deeply absurd to me.
yeah.
Um, And that is the news.
Right.
For what we're watching, I have a choice for you all,
Oh, okay.
which is: do you want to watch something really new and relevant that I pick, or would you like to spin the wheel, Raggedy Man?
I'd like to spin the wheel.
I want to see what you pick.
I will be the tiebreaker, and I have to say give us what you have to pick.
You want it? You want what I picked?
Yes.
Okay, so
Lay it
this
on
week,
us.
this week it's Undead Murder Farce.
Spit is fine.
So it is fine.
Fine.
It's
I was
fine.
wondering if that was the line you were referring to.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that was the line.
It had to be
The party
like,
line.
None of us.
I could not believe I saw it coming, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god, are we really doing this?"
Um,
Wouldn't
So-
it suck if it was mucus though?
yeah, just right out the nose. Anyway,
Mm,
Jojo,
Anyhow.
read this blurb.
okay, well, let's do it.
Oh.
The end of the 19th century. A vampire's wife is murdered, and the detective, known as the cage user, is called in to solve the crime. But there's more to the detective and the curtained bird cage he carries. After all, when solving a case involving a monster, it might just take one to know one. Are we sure that that is the correct?
Yes, in fact, it is for the whole
Wow.
series apparently, and it has nothing to do with the first episode. It is, in fact, about the future.
Fascinating.
So, yeah, that actually mirrors my experience, because I was depending on this being a very Victorian story, but it does begin in Meiji era Tokyo
Yes. Yes.
on the outskirts. So yeah, we open on sort of an explanation. It's the Meiji era. It's the 1870s, but it's not the same. The supernatural is real. And in
Real.
Japan, that means, because of their attempts at westernization, that means the yokai have to go.
Yeah, we can't have these
We
little
can't be
freaks running
having this.
around.
America
This shit.
famously has no folklore.
Um, but so yeah, there was apparently a great purge, which it explains to us in a very stylish way, with big text on
Mhm.
screen while shit is still happening.
I liked it.
And we open on a fight. We open on a pit fight between just a sort of freak ass scale creature and an anime lad. Now,
Yeah.
he's an anime lad, but as the show goes on, he becomes less standard.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's tall and dark blue haired and eyed, and he has Shin Megami Tensei tattoos.
Oh, he
Yeah, he's
does.
just got like lines all over him.
It's
Yeah, he's
funny,
got.
because I've been looking at a Kaza from Demon Slayer for a drawing reference, and I'm like, this. I didn't even think of it, but you're totally right.
Anthony Padilla.
I'm having a brain blast over here.
When some days your Baja gets blasted, but
My god.
but yeah, he's having a dance with this creature, because while it is feral and fast, he's simply too much for it.
He's more feral and more fast.
He's relaxed. And yeah, he just limbos under it as it kicks off of a wall to slice him, and just punches it directly into the stomach, right up into the ceiling.
He punches all of its blood out.
He punches all of its blood out, and just sort of listlessly rises while the announcer proclaims his victory in a long string of victories for the Oni Slayer. I want to say they keep saying Onagashima, but that's like an island.
Yeah,
I think that's the island from Momotaro. But listen, I'm not up on my Japanese folklore. But yeah. Apparently this is a pretty regular occurrence, and money is changing hands in the crowd, and people are just like, shit, he won. And he retires to the back to talk to the troop leader, to the ringmaster, as it were, because apparently this guy's running a monster show.
Monster factory, if you will.
He's been snatching up these creatures from the provinces after the purge because they didn't get all of them for use in his show.
Our MC is just like, where are you getting these guys? And he's like, I got my sources.
He's just like, I got my ways, and he's just like, well, really, under the cops' noses too. And the guy remarks, is just like, yeah, we may not have the best performers, but we've got the most monsters. And while he's sitting there, this guy, whose name is let's just get his name on here as Sugaru.
Yeah, that's the one.
Sugaru is just like, well, I'm sorry, I'm not living up to your expectations. And the troop leader turns to him, and it's just like, what are you talking about? You're not a performer. You're one of the monsters. And he's just like, oh yeah. And speaking of one of the monsters, I cannot remember their names, but the long-necked woman.
Yeah, the long-necked lady is there.
She's not a pentagolem because that's much more horrifying, but she is a kind of Japanese vampire. She just spits on him. Because the monsters fucking hate him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I imagine why.
Because he kills them.
He kills them.
I don't know if he kills higher order monsters like her, but she clearly has great disdain for him. And the troop master is just like, what the fuck? Get out of here, freak!
Yeah.
Which, okay, one thing, like, it indicates that he's a bad person to call the monster person a freak. However, she is like a long-necked vampire woman who has poked just her head through the door, and I feel like in some situations that reaction may be justified. Like, get the fuck out of here! What the hell?
Like, oh!
If you're gonna come in here, come in here. Don't do that.
Neck lady jump scare.
Neck lady jump scare. But yeah, and he's just like, well, shit, I guess I'll retire to bed because he lives a miserable life. And he does retire to his small chamber to have dreams about the horrible things that were done to him, because he was strapped to a table at one point, and a scary European man touched him.
Yeah,
It's literally that's a real description, but it sounds so much weirder than
that just
what it actually is.
God.
But yeah, he like a very European man with a cane with a gold M engraved on the end of it, which will become important later. But yeah, he was apparently being experimented on. And also here, I don't know if any of y'all caught it, but we do get a glimpse of someone who will appear later, because I believe I believe Aya is in the shadow of the doorway for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, we open on him the next day, going about his business, walking through the just shit ass suburbs of Tokyo in the 1870s. Everyone is starving. Everything is mud.
Yeah, it's bad here. It doesn't seem great.
You've seen it in 100 Samurai games. How, bitch, you be living like this in this era? The shogunate has failed you. but yeah, while people fight over potatoes in the background, my man is strolling through town to get a beer, apparently from the Navy.
Yeah.
It looks Western, and he's just like, "This is the cheapest you'll get it anywhere." And he's just like, "Hey, man, if you got money to drink, maybe you ought to see a doctor." And he's just like, "Well, what for?" And he's just like, "Well, it's a venereal disease, right?" And he just like touches the marks on his own face, and he's just like, "Huh."
Yeah.
And I'm
that's
thinking
totally
it's
what it
just,
is, man.
and I'm thinking it's just be like, what kind of bomb
What
ass
does-
venereal disease gives you Shin Megami Tensei markings? It makes you into a devil summoner.
Fucking coolest one ever. Duh.
Why am I thinking of that now? Why am I thinking of that quote now? It's just like my dick has led me to places I wouldn't go with a gun. But anyway,
Jesus.
he seems like the type even. But
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
but yeah,
Get there.
and he continues on. Some children are following him, local children, and he turns to them and just smiles, and they go, "Ah, he's gonna eat us!" And he's
Yeah,
just like,
you get them like there's a moment you're like, oh, it's his fan club. No, it's not his fan club. They're his haters.
It's his scare club.
There is
Like
little
getting
haters.
scared by him.
He doesn't even seem to mind them. He's just like,
Yeah.
and he comes upon some villagers tormenting a local cat, and they're just like, "Hey, Ani Slayer, here, slay this monster for us." And he's just like,
He's like, it's
he's
a
looking
cat.
at it. He's just like, "Listen, that's a cat," and they're just like, "Bullshit. Doesn't look like any cat I've ever seen." I was just like,
What are you
"You gotta
talking
tell him." Just like, you gotta tell him, man. It's just like, listen, it's not his fault he's ugly.
This cat
Poor
made me
fucking
so
animal.
sad because it was like skinny and like
Yeah, it's skinny
ragged
and
looking.
ragged ass cat.
Uh-huh.
And he bends down to touch it, and it just slices his finger open and then runs away. And he's just like, "Excuse me, an Oni Slayer such as myself cannot kill a cat."
Yeah.
And they're just like, "Oh, it's fucking lame." And we cut to that evening's entertainment where he is made to fight a Bakudaku.
Yeah. The implication being that the cat was a monster, actually.
Or well, he is going to have to face a cat yokai of any type. But
Irony either way.
I forget what this thing is. I want to say Bakaneko, but I'm not sure that's correct. It's something Neko. It's a two-tailed cat.
Yeah.
And from Japanese folklore, by the way, as much as you like cats, they're not the best. They like do necromancy and kill old people. So,
What's a little necromancy and old
God forbid a girl do anything.
I think it's called necromancy. Thank you.
necromancy?
oh shit.
Yeah, baby.
But yeah, it doesn't even show us the fight. He just retires afterwards. And it looks like he's going to go to his room again, but we cut to his room and it's empty. And there is a maid standing in the doorway with a birdcage. She's like, and she steps outside, and Suguru is leaning against the wall. He says, "Can I help you?" And she's silent, and he says just like, "Can you?" And he's clearly processing it. Like, "Can I help you, maid?" With a bird cage, and he reaches for it. And he's like, "It must be important." And this was a bad idea.
I don't know.
Because
I think he came out ahead.
Because he's well, I guess, yeah, like in the grand scheme of things. So she stunt rolls over his back, like the Joker would. And he's just like, "Oh ho ho, I see." And she takes a moment to set down the bird cage, and pull out a bundle on her back and pull a cloth from it in the traditional anime style. I've never seen this happen in real life, and I doubt it can, where you pull one end of a cloth and the whole thing unravels from an object.
Mm-hmm.
But the object in this case is a fucking bloodborne ass combi weapon of like. It is like a Sharps musket with a sword bayonet built into it.
Yeah, like it's not even like a proper bayonet because it's just the like barrel is sharp somehow.
It's a gun. Well, it's not that the barrel is sharp. It's a gun blade.
Yeah,
but
it's
like
a
not
gun blade. It
not
is
the
a
way you
straight
would
up gun
think.
blade.
It's a rifle first and a blade
Yeah.
second. But yeah, it's clearly time to have a little tango, and thus they do. She's very good and very armed, but he's more cunning than she is, and throws one of his sandals at her. And while she's dodging that, just pours his beer down the barrel of the gun.
I thought that was really funny, actually.
I was just like, and he's just like, "Oh, that was expensive."
Yeah.
So yeah, gun won't fire, but they're still gonna fight, and
The gun is still sharp.
the gun is still quite sharp. And she just throw it at him at one point like a spear.
Mhm.
But yeah, they have a little tussle, and she does kick his ass for a while, but eventually he gets the upper hand on her, and almost strangles her, but like casually. And a voice says, "It's just like it's just like that's quite enough. I see you've gotten the best of Shizuko," and he's talking to her. It's just like, so you can speak. And it's just like, so what's with the birdcage and what's your problem? Why isn't your mouth moving?
Mhm.
And they have a conversation for a while under this assumption that she's just doing ventriloquism. But
if you watched the intro, you obviously will
you know what's
what is
happening.
happening because
Yeah.
But yeah, the birdcage has a lady's head in it.
yeah.
A beautiful lady named Aya Rindo, and she lays out that she has sought him out because he is part Oni, and not naturally. He didn't. His papa wasn't an Oni. He was made that way.
Yeah, no one was out there fucking an Oni to
I mean,
make
I'm sure.
Well,
I'm sure somebody was,
not
but
this
not
time.
Not this
Not
time.
this time.
Not this time.
But
Made it up.
she's seeking him out, and the reason is because she wants him to kill her.
Yeah.
because she's immortal, and somebody made off with her body
Yeah,
about
someone just
6
took
months ago.
her body away.
And having lived for 900 years since the Heian period, she doesn't see the point in continuing on as a head. And so they walk and talk about it because she wants to make a deal. She wants to give him the ability to extend his life because the powers of the Oni are eating him every time he uses it. It gets closer to the day that it just takes him over.
Yeah, he's just gonna essentially snap and start murdering
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. He's just gonna go.
It's gonna be morbid time for him.
He's gonna go.
Yeah.
Full doom glory kill on everybody he meets. And she wants to die because as an Oni, he should have the ability to kill her. Because the one who took her body was also part Oni, but the part
Not
wasn't strong enough to kill her outright when he cut her, just to destroy her regenerative ability. So they walk through town talking about it, and we get to sort of Sugaru's like life choice path and philosophy about things, which is she's just like, why do you do this? Why do you want to die? Because you're just hastening things along every time you use your powers in that show. And he explains that he knew he was going to die because of the instability of this situation anyway. So he thought what he would do is to live with this troop for as long as possible, fighting for the amusement of the worst people in Tokyo and the worst boss in Tokyo and the barker who drums up the ticket sales for the fights, until one day he finally snapped, because when he snapped, he wanted to do it in a place where the only people he hurt before a military police officer shot him were some of the worst people imaginable.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, okay, you know what? I
His-
guess.
his job is to make killing monsters entertaining. So he thought that it was very appropriate to make his own death as a monster also be entertaining, at
I
least
think
to him.
He specifically, I do want to say he specifically said that it would be the funniest way to die.
It would be the best way to die that he could
shit would be
imagine.
hilarious.
But he turns the question on her and he says, well, why do you want to die? And she's just like, well, I don't want to be a head. It's just be like, he's just like, well, there's a lot of ways to still have fun in this world, even if you're a head. But you said earlier, even if I wanted to go after them, which suggests that you could go after them.
This scene is just like two suicidal goths being like, I'm gonna cheer you up by telling you like how you could like live and make life miserable for the people who wronged you. Smiley face.
True.
Exactly. And it's
Lightly
also
flirting.
it's also like a really
That's how goths
fun
flirt.
it's a really fun scene for set of scenes for not really much happening in the action department.
Mm-hmm.
So like as they're walking, it gets very artsy. Sometimes they're walking just in a void where nothing is there but like a bridge that they're standing on.
Like walking up like into the
Some-
void, and it's like he's holding her head up, and like she's like huge for some. It's really
She's
interesting and
gigantic
artsy.
occasionally. Like sometimes they're in like a spooky Japanese hotel with her head floating in the air with blood pouring out of her neck. But
There was a moment where they were walking through the alleyways and it looked like a top-down video game.
Yeah.
It was really, that moment killed me.
But yeah, he's just like he's just like, why don't you go after them? And she's just like, well, the man is clearly too far away. And she's like, but you know where they are. Just like, well, he must be. He's in Europe. He was a foreigner with a K and with a gold M engraved on it. And he's just like, aha!
Ah.
And as he continues on, he's just like, well, I'm not going to kill you, but you are going to extend my life. And she's like, what kind of joke is this? He's just like, because I'm going to help you go get your body into Europe.
Yeah.
I figure it's a good deal for both of us. I want to live, and you'll want your body.
Mm-hmm.
And
And we both want to kill the same bitch.
and we both want to kill the same motherfucker because I'm pretty sure he's the one who made me like this.
Yeah. He made me an Oni. He took your body, you know.
Took your dignity. Gotta be a head in a fucking birdcage.
Mhm.
So yeah, and they end up standing by like a wisteria tree, and she's just like, Shizuku, let me out. She's just like, oh, it's time to leave the cage.
Time to leave.
And she takes her out, and her hair just piles out because there's just
Got a lot of
a
hair.
mile of it.
Mhm.
And she says, all right, I will extend your life. The way to do it is because I am immortal. Consuming any part of me will help keep the Oni at bay in you. And he's just like,
at this moment, I thought he was just gonna start gobbling up her hair or something like that.
yeah. There was an
Top of a
implication that he
hair
was going to have to eat her hair
Mhm.
because it kept focusing on
Because
him
it
while they were
kept
talking.
focusing on the hair, yeah.
But he's just like, consume, and she's just like, well, I'm not going to let you have my eyes or ears or brain, so it'll probably be something I can part with.
Like my saliva, for example.
My nasal mucus, a bodily fluid such as my nasal mucus or saliva. I thought this was going to blood, really, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could have been.
but he's just like, it's like, which would you prefer? And he's just like, I guess saliva. It's just like, so how should we do this? And she's like, why not directly? I'm just like, oh, she's flirting. I see.
Uh-huh. No, that
and
was
yeah,
pretty obvious.
and they yeah, and so they go on to do it, and it's just like, you know, you ever listen? You ever been so hard up you make out with a severed head?
I don't don't know. Like, it was kind of romantic.
It was a little. It was certainly a
very
romantic
alas
scene.
for Yorick vibe.
It was very Homestuck. Anyway,
Jesus.
um,
All right.
so yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. We go to a sort of non-committal end sequence, which is just shots of them in Europe.
They look like
with
they're
Big
having
Ben.
fun.
They're doing tourism shit.
They're like at a museum at one point. They're like
about.
going through the city.
But yeah, what do you guys think about this one?
I liked it. I had a
I need
good
you
time.
before you make your decision. I need you to understand one thing: is that I looked at the characters and voice actors section on my anime list to prepare for this, and what do I see? I see Sugaru, Aya, Shizuku, and then number 4 is Sherlock Holmes.
I need you to know that I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and in addition to Sherlock Holmes, we have Arsène Lupin, the Phantom of the Opera, Moriarty, Carmilla, Frankenstein, Jack the Ripper. Yeah, so we got some characters in here. We got some references.
I almost thought I read something wrong, and I almost thought I saw Franz and Albert. I'm just like, no,
They can't be.
It couldn't be.
They can't.
But so yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. So yes. Also, it's interesting that both Wikipedia and My Anime List call this Undead Girl murder farce.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a number of different names and different ways to say the names. So
Yeah, Undead Murder Farce or Undead Girl Murder Farce, which I don't know.
Diversity
Changes
win.
A little bit? Question mark? Anyhow, I liked it. I do write like cat, and I circle it anytime there's a cat in an episode.
Mhm.
This time I did have to circle it and write cat, but with a frowny face.
Sad face, yeah.
Because they do see the same
The
cat
strong
from
em-
earlier, and he's just like, it's
the
just
strong
dead.
implication that he is dead. Yes.
Yeah.
Not even an implication. They just showed his like
It's
shriveled up
obviously
little
dead.
body.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was very sad. This was really stylish. It had a really nice looking OP. The music in the OP slapped.
Yeah.
I really
It was
like
a bop.
I really like the style and like the artistic chances they're willing to take here.
Yeah.
But what I really actually like most is the character interaction here, because they have
Yeah.
genuine chemistry.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
this maid and this, because she does speak. She's not entirely silent. She does speak at one point. She's just be like, because he asks her, it's just like, she's like, "Do you want your master to die?" And she's just like, "If my master wants to die."
She's like, I'll do whatever she tells me
It's
to
my
do. And he's like,
job.
you're a puppet. And she's like, whatever.
But yeah, the chemistry here is like really genuine, and I like it.
You love to see when like characters work really good together.
You like to see half monster man and severed
like-
head woman get together.
Yes. And also like I like that he is a little bit like morally ambiguous. Like they're not
Mhm.
just like, oh, he's like a real nasty boy, or he's not like fully like a real good boy either. You
Well,
love to see it.
He's been led to a certain philosophy by his life situation, in that his life situation is fucking horrible.
Yeah, no, that's why it makes sense that he's a little, morally
he's-
ambiguous.
But he's surprisingly well adjusted, considering.
All things considered, sure, he's made his peace, I guess.
Louis Blackle, what do you guys think?
I liked it.
I didn't like it personally.
Okay, what's wrong with it?
I don't know. It was just not for me. Like, it just like I didn't really. I didn't find. I wasn't endeared to any of the characters at all, and I just kind of like didn't find the situation very compelling personally, or like the setting. I don't know.
We got a hard customer here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What does it take to please you?
Didn't even get sucked in by the spit exchange.
Literally, I was more interested in the blurb than in the actual anime.
Well, that's gonna happen later.
I know,
We
but
gotta
like
learn
I'm
about the
saying that
cage
I
user.
feel like they could have like reordered things a little bit to make. Because the thing is, like, I really don't like when stories are like perfectly linear like this, or there's like, okay, let's introduce these characters at the start of their story and then go from there. I like it when we start in media res. I like I'm an in media res enjoyer is the thing. Is I want it to be like, oh, like these are some weird characters doing some weird things. I don't know why they're doing it, and I want to know why they're doing it, right? And then this is like, this episode should have been like the 4th episode or something like that. Like it should have been like, oh, you've seen them, you're not really sure why they're doing these things, you're not sure what their deal is, we're going to reveal what their deal is later, and that really would hook me in. But for now, I'm just kind of like, I found the first episode pretty boring personally.
I
Well,
guess.
we can't be right all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna
So do
watch.
we-
I'm gonna watch more of this.
I think I'm gonna watch more at some point.
It's
Y'all?
not on the top of my list, but I'll I'd watch
Okay.
more.
Yeah, fair enough. I
Uh,
guess that's a no from Blackle.
This really does feel like one of those things. It's going to be 12-episode anime that I could just eat.
This one's gonna be 13, actually.
They need to stop doing that.
12's enough, but 13, no, too
13?
much.
12 is a season.
You've crossed a line. You need to fucking stop.
You need to fucking stop.
I mean, Oshinoko is 12 episodes, but one of those is a movie.
So,
Anyhow.
So, anyway, if you've got a particular bodily fluid you would like from me, you can tell me about that at oneepisodecast@gmail.com.
Oh,
If you want to clamp your lips over our nostrils and suck for
Whoa.
infinite immortality, then contact us.
I'm sorry, you can't have my spit. It is spoken for. We are at One Episode Cast on Twitter for now. One the word, not the number.
My blood contains the power, but can you take it from me?
You can try.
I really like a severed head narrative, like a living severed head.
This is sort of an opposite of Durarara.
There's opportunities for jokes. You can
Yeah.
play that character up as they have to use their only strength, which is their intellect. Which is clearly what it's going to be. Like he's going to be the detective, but she's going to be the brains.
The question is, how would you subvert that? Like, what if the head could float? And what if the head just banged itself against people? And like, that was the brawn, and then he's the brain.
That happens in Planescape Torment, but
when she gets really big,
just becomes huge.
Becomes huge.
Rolls around like a Katamari.
It wasn't an artistic choice. It's just
was literal.
She can
real.
do.
What happened?
No, everything is diegetic.
Yeah, I can believe it.